Welcome to the Revolutionary CEO podcast, where adaptable marketing meets real-life business strategies. I'm your host, Letitia Lynch, adaptable marketing strategist, boy mom, and CEO who believes in making marketing work for you. In this podcast, we're unlocking the gate-kept marketing strategies and advice that's usually hidden behind paywalls that solo service providers, coaches, and boutique firm owners need to market, launch, and sell their services their way. Join me every Wednesday as we explore strategies tailored to your capacity, personality, and business season. I'll also share my business shifts and bonus episodes with real questions and custom strategies from Revolutionary Society. Let's get into it. Are you at the stage of business where you've experimented with your offers and business models, figured out who you do and don't want to work with anymore, established boundaries and figured out your messaging, and finally settled up into showing up in your business how you want to? If so, that means you're not only ready to figure out your go-to marketing process you plan to follow that fits your new lifestyle, but you're also finally ready to stick with one, then this episode is for you. Because for the past few years in online business, we have been in a constant cycle of content consumption, strategy experimentation, and process mimicking. We've gotten to a place where we are being sold marketing strategies, not by their processes and what it takes to pull them off, but by the results that they can help us achieve. This created a space where so many entrepreneurs didn't realize that a major reason why they struggle to stick with and commit to a marketing process is because they never took the time to establish one that would work for them specifically. In this episode, which is a special one because it's actually directly pulled from a Revolutionary Society session, is about to uncover why you have not been able to stick with marketing. You'll actually hear me helping the members admit that they don't have established weekly and marketing routines or processes, which is why they're struggling to gain the marketing momentum with leads and sales. And we talk through what's gotten in the way of them creating one. I want to give you a glimpse into some of those answers. You'll likely find your own reason for not having your established marketing content that you follow consistently every single month and week among the 8 that were shared from different women with different businesses. They each had different reasons why they haven't been able to stick with marketing despite knowing what they should and need to be doing. And this episode will hopefully inspire you to commit to establishing one and committing to it yourself. This is actually what we focus on inside of Revolutionary Society. It's about revolutionizing marketing for women to make it easier for them to execute. The goal of the society is to change how women service providers and consultants look at everyday marketing. I help them determine what marketing strategies and processes actually make sense for their lifestyle, their business model, personality, and energy, and based on those decisions, make it easy for them to execute those strategies and processes every single day. If you want this level of support, the link to join Revolutionary Society is in the show notes. Now, because I'm sharing real clips from the episode, I want to give you an overview of the flow of that discussion, as I hadn't, of course, initially planned to leverage any of it for the podcast episode. So the beginning of the episode is kind of how I kicked off the meeting. I was expressing to them that it's time for each of them to establish and commit to a consistent marketing process that each of them could follow every single week and month in their business, just based on what they need to do in order to generate leads and sales in their specific business. So some of them need more traffic to their site, some need more visibility, or to reconnect with past clients to work on client retention, which is a big part of their sales. But just knowing that they are all aware of what they need to be doing to hit their leads and sales goals, and yet still not doing it every month, I wanted to really understand why each of them aren't currently doing it. And so throughout the conversation, some of the reasons shared really sparked different discussions, like one who often stops prioritizing marketing by the time she makes time for it. She's in a rush to make sales, so marketing ends up still taking a backseat. Or the one who said that she hasn't been consistent with marketing because she changed her offers, despite the offers having nothing to do with consistently marketing. And really, so many of them prioritized all of the fun, creative, and strategic ideas, but none of them focused on the execution. If you find yourself in that same position, then you're not alone, and I want you to take a listen to the start of that session with me. I wanted to talk through some things that I'm noticing as far as people typically struggling to keep up with marketing on a regular basis, just in general, how hard it is to constantly feel like you're having to adapt and adjust and catch up with marketing. And it's typically because people don't have consistent processes on a monthly and even a weekly basis when it comes to marketing. So right now, I think you all have access to so many different strategies from me and everything in the books that you can possibly do, all of the resources, the tools, tools, and all those things are fantastic. I know you love them, but I want you to also have a clear every single week, you know exactly what you're doing when it comes to marketing, and you can typically follow that so that when these random things come up, you don't feel like you're constantly in a feast or famine mode when it comes to sales and leads and visibility for your brand. I wanted to take a moment just to have an open discussion with you all about how you currently, if I could kind of gauge how you feel about marketing every single week in your business. And what I want to gauge is, do you currently feel like you know exactly what you need to do when it comes to marketing every single week in your business and every single month? Next, we had a trademark attorney share that life has really been lifing for her lately. She takes on a lot of side projects outside of her business to make revenue, and she's also a single mother. So when her daughter is sick or out of school, she has to focus on that, and it leaves little time for marketing. The marketing consultant, who also shared her story, on the other hand, clearly knows what she needs to do to market. That is her job, and she helps other people do it as well. But she admitted that she doesn't actually stick with it, especially with all the excitement of new ideas and getting more clarity on what she wants to do with her own services. So when she had a death in the family or other family member matters come up, it left her having to choose between focusing on marketing or selling to make money. And she, of course, pushed off the marketing to focus on selling, which left her back at square one, having to figure out a go-to marketing process that she can follow and actually stick with every week and every month. She has all the tools, and so do you. You have all the tools and strategies to show up, but you aren't actually following them. You're never really sticking with them. So let's hear the clip about what I said in that case. You know what's making me happy? You're proving the point of why I wanted to have this session. You have so many things that, of course, the tools are there, but none of us are, I feel like on a regular basis, are able to stick with following those things. And then when things come up like the funerals or the natural disasters, and then it's constantly like, I have to catch up now. Like, oh, now I have a break, I have a window. But usually those windows are times when you need the income. And if you had the momentum already there, you probably wouldn't have as many of those windows where it's like, oh, nothing's going on, I got to catch up. You know what I mean? Next, we had a brand and web designer share that she's not a good seller, so she's used to relying on word of mouth and referrals for all of her business, which meant she never prioritized marketing. However, now that referrals are drying up, she's realizing that she has to focus on marketing so that she's not 100% dependent on referrals or past clients. She also admitted that she's had so many ideas and she knows what she should be doing when it comes to marketing. She just isn't doing it. She also worked on marketing projects and really understands it. So this is the time that in the conversation where I had to really remind everyone that, and you as a listener, that the issue isn't that you don't know how to market or that you're not capable of marketing. You can, and you have, but something is in the way of you sticking with it. And this episode is trying to help you uncover why you're not sticking with the marketing yourself. Here's the clip. Ultimately, what I'm asking you all is, if you're being honest, are you consistent with marketing? And if you're not, I do want to know why you feel like you're not able to be consistent with it. So if you are, then great. But if you're not, which my concern is, most people are not consistent with marketing. You might know how to market, but I'm not questioning whether or not you all know how to market. I think you all know deep down inside how to market. My question is, are you doing it though on a regular basis? On a given month, are you straight up like, oh, I know exactly what I need to be doing, and then doing it? And my suspicion is that most people are not. I'm never questioning whether or not you guys are capable of doing the stuff. We're all capable of doing the stuff. Also, y'all, if you've been working with me in any capacity, you know something about some marketing. A lot of you work in marketing. That the question isn't, do I know how to market? Do I have go-to strategies to market? Can I market if I really need to? Yeah, the answer is yes. But the real question is, are you on a regular basis marketing in such a way on a regular basis that you, if things randomly come up, it doesn't completely derail your business. It's not completely derailing the momentum that you had. And again, my suspicion is, yeah, it will for most people. Most people, I think it would. And that's scary because you're in a constant state of feast or famine, or maybe not fully feast. It's dramatic to say feast or famine, but you're constantly in a state of rebuilding and trying something new and experimenting and trying to pull some stuff off. And I don't want people to feel like they constantly have to pull something off. And thank God I was able to get my income, even though it didn't. I want things to go as planned sometimes. I feel like I'm constantly hearing, it didn't go as planned, but I made it. I don't want you to keep just making it. I don't want marketing to feel like you're just making it. I want it to go as planned most of the time. so that when some random shit comes up, it's not like, again, throwing everything off like, damn, and now yet another thing, because those things are going to happen. The kids are going to be out of school. You're going to randomly get COVID. You're going to experience death in a family, or maybe if you have, medical, like, things happen. And marketing should be the least of the concern, because if you're typically doing it regularly, it won't be 1 month, 2 months, a hospital stay, a death in the family, a recovery, you know what I'm saying? None of that should completely derail what you've been building, because normally you would be consistent. That's what I'm trying to get to. The next member, who is a business and product consultant, shared that she finally realized why marketing wasn't working for her, since she hadn't really been clear on her business focus. But now she feels good with things like her messaging and her services. She's actually ready to figure out how she will market them consistently, but she just lost so much marketing momentum not saying anything at all. So many of you have been either creating new offers or revamping existing ones over the last few months or even the last year. And while that will affect what you say in your content, it isn't the reason you haven't usually been consistently marketing before that, right? Because you're working with clients every month, every week in most cases. There is marketing to sell your services, like launching, and then there's the marketing that you do for things like visibility and brand awareness, lead generation, and that should be constant regardless of the offer. So here's a clip where I talk through that mental shift in only marketing like you're launching, where you're focused on a single offer to sell it, in everyday marketing, where if you aren't promoting an offer, you're still trying to connect with leads and build your brand. One thing I want to point out is that this isn't about your offers. A lot of you have mentioned your offers. It's not about the offer. A process is a process for marketing and showing up. Whatever you're offering at the time is just what you're going to embed into the process. It's just now during this process, I'm talking about this. Marketing and following, like, I'll give you guys an example. When I do like my content clarity scan, the content calendar I'm giving them isn't necessarily just tailored to an offer. It's tailored to that person's business, and they embed and answer and follow that calendar and that process based on what's going on that particular month. Your marketing processes shouldn't have to drastically change. You shouldn't have to pause marketing and pause showing up and pause your processes because you've decided that you want to focus on a different offer, one versus the other. And so again, when I'm talking about marketing processes, it's not, what messaging do I need for this particular thing? No, in general, I want you all to have a go-to approach every month to how you're showing up and where. When I'm talking about the marketing, I don't want you guys to think which part of the buyer's journey, or you know what I'm saying? When I say process, I don't mean, and I don't want you to be thinking about, oh, I can't talk to the cold people right now, I need to talk to warm, or because we all want the people who are ready to buy anyway, right? Like, we mostly all just want that anyway. When I'm saying and thinking about ongoing, consistent, regular marketing for my brand or whatever I'm doing, I should still have a go-to approach to that. And all I'm doing is switching out. It's kind of like Lego bricks. If I thought about Lego bricks, I could almost make the same shape of Lego brick with different shaped Legos every time, but I could still make the same thing. I might use the little one that only has two and it's a square versus the long one. But if I use the long one, I would need two of them stacked side by side, but it would still end up making a rectangle. I could still make the same rectangle. It's just different pieces that I put in there, different bricks that I used. Marketing and marketing processes and consistency, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, do you have, even if you chose a different Lego brick, you should still know what the overall picture needs to be. And that should be the thing that you're following every single month. And then you get to layer in the different bricks, and the bricks being the offers, your energy level, how you want to maintain that. And I don't feel like, again, and this is why I think so many of you are here today. It's like, yeah, probably not. Like, I came because I feel like there's something that I'm probably missing here, and I'm open to receiving what are some options of things I should focus on to build up that consistency. And that's what I want for today. In this next clip, we changed gears to address the importance of shifting from focusing on ideas, messaging, target audiences, to focus now on doing the marketing with the clarity that they've gained from all that work. Now, of course, I understand just how much of a distraction it is to try to market when you lack so much clarity on what you're focused on and who you want to serve. This is actually one of the reasons why in Revolutionary Society I have things like feedback loops for them to submit messaging, offer ideas, sales pages, audience maps, whatever it is. And they also can submit Q&A, which is usually focused on business questions and decisions, because those things will always get in the way of marketing execution. I truly do believe that everyone needs access to not just marketing templates and strategies and content ideas, but also access to someone who can help them think through decisions, who understands different people and different business models and can offer insights tailored to the individual, especially in a group setting. Learn more about Revolutionary Society by checking out the link in the show notes. Now, here's a clip where we talk through and talk about how once all the decisions are made on the direction of the business, it's time to do the marketing work needed to bring in those leads and sales. Seasons where it's like, you really got to wrap up this year, y'all. So I wanted to be more clear on what that messaging, and I don't want that to take up time when we really should be focused on sales. So I'm glad that you're coming into this season with that clarity, because it is a distraction. But again, it's like a lot of you know now, oh, I know where I should market, because we talk about that so much in here. You have an idea of what you would like to do within the marketing, but then there's the doing, and then there's the doing repeatedly and giving it time. And I don't always see the doing. I do see the celebration of the ideas, the excitement of the connection and the alignment, but I don't always see that same thing through the execution. And what I wanted to kind of, and this is a great discussion. I love you guys for this, by the way, but I want to have you all really reflect on why not the execution part of the excitement, because I do know that there's excitement in the creation and the ideas. Like, this is one of my favorite things about doing strategy, but lay it on us. I know, I'm like, oops, but it's like, it's fun for that, but it's more fun to make the money because you did those things and you saw it through and it actually worked. And a lot of, I think, the discouragement with visibility and views, which though you do know in the back of your head you shouldn't be pressed about, it bothers you. We don't ever get an opportunity to get to the other side of that bothering us because it started working. We started seeing the shift. Next up, we had an accountant that shared that the main reasons that she struggles with sticking with marketing is because she has a 9-to-5, which limits her energy and schedule. So it's important for her in particular to pre-plan and schedule her content. And she's, of course, not doing that. And so with the time she typically has, because I think a lot of you will say, I don't have the time, but what you really mean is I haven't used my time for the things I need to work on. So in her case, with the time she did have for marketing, she was spending it focusing on what she felt like obviously were the wrong things. It was creating her lead magnet. She's created 2 in like just the past few months, updating her website and doing a lot of back end focused things. And so in this clip, we actually address the fact that most people enjoy the creativity of coming up with lead magnets and thinking of strategies, but they really need to be focused on the doing and executing of making sure that marketing is consistent and they're generating leads on a regular basis and not constantly creating and letting themselves get into that excitement without getting into the same level of excitement with a committed process. Oh my God, the way y'all will be in these lead magnets, offers, messaging, website. By the way, I live and breathe to play around with those. It's one of my favorite places to be. But I do know that typically when I'm leaning into those things, it's because I really don't feel like addressing what's really not working all that well, which is the front end shit. I think it's easier and more fun to, I wouldn't say fantasize, but to envision what's possible for the things that we're creating rather than seeing our way through the ugly period. Like, like when you get a haircut and it's like, oh, it's at that weird length before it fully grows back out. And you got to decide if you're going to cut it back off to keep the cute look, or you're just going to go through the ugly stage. And I feel like most people don't go through the ugly stage of marketing. And right on the other side of that is where the consistency feels easier to stick with because now it's working. It's hard to stick with something, going to the gym, losing weight, whatever, changing your life or changing your eating habits. Like, those are things that are hard to stick with until you immediately see the results. We do not give it time to work. And while it's not working, we still have other needs that we then turn around and prioritize because we feel like that's going to be the solution. And right then, that cash injection happens, but then you're back to square one. And I want to get to a place where we simultaneously honor and do the marketing, which actually makes the selling so much easier later on. Because then the people come to you, or right when you start building your relationship, they know what's going on because they've heard of you or they've come across the information, or they can stalk you in peace like they secretly really want to. And everything's already there, working, converting for you. Next, we have a brand photographer who shared that she also has a 9 to 5, so her time is limited, but she professionally works in corporate marketing, so she also knows what to do. But the problem that she admitted for her is that for years she was buying all of those courses and learning business marketing from other people, and she found herself almost mimicking their messages and their styles, and it just didn't feel like her. And now she knows how she really wants to show up and the messaging she wants to put out there, and so it's finally time for her to come up with a better process so that she can stick with it and not stray away from it. So in this clip, it's where we address the content consumption era that left so many online business owners feeling out of alignment with their own personality and energy when choosing how to market. Something that you said, though, that I want to see if everybody else picked up on was you now know that you need to focus on what you want to do and not what you have been watching. And I think we have been in a long period of consumption of other things that work for other people. It's a lot of consumption of what's working for everybody else. What I've noticed over the last couple of months in the membership is people kind of being like, I don't like what I was doing before. I actually hated it, but I thought I had to, or I do now know what I want to say. And yeah, a lot of you actually have switched or adapted or adjusted or got in more alignment with your offers. Even I've done the same thing this specific year, throughout this year. And I think a lot of that clarity was needed to get to a place where you're not just open, but more self-aware that I am at a place. If you haven't seen, just from all the shit going on in the last few months, we all need some consistency because shit happens, and it's like, it sucks to not feel prepared. It sucks to feel like you're scrambling to catch up. It sucks to feel like, yet again, this didn't pan out like I thought it would. I had the schedule. I started off so good and then fell off. That is not a good or healthy place to be in business, is to constantly feel disappointed by your shortcomings or you falling off. It's not fun. And so I feel like if we can learn to build up those habits, there gets to be some level of pride of, I actually stuck with it. Typically I'm sticking with it. And now you can see this is just a one little, somebody in the membership, one of the members just posted, like, I realized that this is just a temporary season because she's in school, she's doing stuff. And I'm like, that's the place I want everyone to be in, that you can recognize when there's a season of shit happens, and then but on a regular basis, I'm capable and typically do this. There's a level of pride that comes with, normally I am actually on my shit and I was sick and I just didn't have it in me, or depression kind of came back up, whatever it is. I want us to be there. This session and what we're going to do for the rest of it, after I talk through one more person, is I want to talk through what those processes need to look like. And then I'm committing to you all that I am going to do a better job of giving a little bit more space in between something that we're implementing, a new strategy, some cool thing, and then checking in and seeing that through. How did you add that and implement that or embed that into your regular marketing process? Because all of us are different. We all operate differently. And I think you can hear something one time and you'll go check on it later on your own. I'm thinking that, but I'm like, you came here for a reason. You wanted someone to have your back and make sure you were doing the stuff and help you envision how that can fit in with what you want to do and accomplish, and show you not just the way, but to help make sure that you don't stray from it too. And I'm not really doing that. And I'm okay admitting that. I'm understanding that I'm not always. I think sometimes I have good moments where I'm like, did you do that? So let's just do that today. But I want that to be the consistent thing, because I think I have a personal responsibility for the marketing processes to be processing regularly. That's what I want for Revolutionary Society. So anyway, space sounds good. I need more space for you guys. And I'm sorry that I don't give it to y'all, because I'll be on the next thing.
That's how I moved up.
The last member who shared her struggle was a marketing strategist who, again, has all the knowledge in the world about marketing. She also admitted that she's doing a really great job of marketing for her clients, but struggles to put everything she knows into a process that she can follow herself, especially when it comes to content that works for her. So in this clip, I talk about having all the knowledge about marketing, and instead of continuing to seek more opportunities to learn more information, it's really about committing to establishing our marketing processes with what we already know. We need to slow down a little bit. And all of you also, again, everyone has the building blocks. You have the buyer's journey, awareness maps, messaging, you have your offer, you know what you kind of know what offer you're going to sell next, you know the price. Like there's all of those things. It's and the testing of the tools, I don't even want to get on that, April. That's another thing that will derail you, is thinking of some other tool you can do to make it faster when you're not even doing the thing regular enough to something to speed it up. What we speeding up? Something you ain't doing. You're not even doing it and speeding it up. Speeding up. We ended with another business consultant sharing how for the people who prioritize networking and relationships to market, it often feels overwhelming when hearing all the different processes others follow because they thrive and can only really commit to processes that feel simple for them. So here's a clip of me giving them permission, especially to like the members and the listeners who don't want to have a large part of their sales coming from content, to know that when I say you need to establish a consistent marketing process and a strategy you can follow every month, it means you need to choose one that incorporates what you need to get leads and sales in your own business your way. When we're talking in these settings, I want you to talk through what would be simple for you and then commit to that. That's all I want you all to do. So don't feel like a suggestion that I give to someone who has the energy and is trying to be doing all that shit, that you now have to do it too, because I just hyped that person up. I'm hyping that person up because I know that that also works and that person would like it. None of you are going to stick with, and that's probably why most of you haven't stuck with stuff. You're probably doing stuff you hate. I'm not saying that when you decide, I actually love doing X, Y, and Z, and then if X, Y, and Z isn't working as fast as you wanted to, that you won't try to deviate. You're going to try to deviate. The problem, that's what I want you to overcome today, is stop deviating. What is causing the deviation, and are we giving it enough time? Like, is there some checks and balances to check yourself and to allow the time and the space for the things to work in the way that it needs to work for you? So today, we need to all settle on and commit to what those things will be for our own individual businesses. Okay, so this episode, you got a behind the scenes look at the level of open, raw discussions we have in Revolutionary Society around getting marketing done. One of the biggest benefits of being around other businesswomen who openly share how they are approaching marketing is not only hearing so many options, but also hearing why they are choosing those options and knowing the circumstances behind those choices. You have listened to so many coaches and strategists over the years selling you on marketing outcomes, but never sharing the context behind what it takes to get those marketing outcomes. By being a part of communities like Revolutionary Society, surrounded by women, who is a unique demographic that tends to wear more hats, have more titles, and bear more emotional labor than men in their households and families, who are also navigating and running a business alongside life and finding ways to market and show up in their business in a way that works for them. There's power in just seeing others make choices and having the support system to help you find marketing processes that work for you and being there to make it easier for you to stick with it. You can join us by visiting revolutionarysociety.com or click the link in the show notes, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the Revolutionary CEO podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform and leave a review to let me know the moments you enjoyed most. Spotify users and YouTubers, leave me a comment with your biggest takeaway or questions from the episode. And be sure to connect with me on Instagram, YouTube, or Threads. I'm always at Her Marketing Coach. Talk to you next week.